So the first round of the URC season finally took place. A mixed bag for the Welsh region, starting with the Dragons on Friday. The score was 42-21 to Ulster, but I think that does flatter Ulster a little bit. The Dragons, I thought, caused them quite a lot of issues when they had the ball. They were able to break them down a couple of times. There was probably one, maybe at least one or two tries that went begging, a forward pass, one that was like a bit of a questionable call from the referee. The issue for the Dragons was, unfortunately, similar to last year. Defensively, they were weak in the back line. There was a lot of missed tackles, 21 altogether through the team. So that is a lot of missed tackles to be spread out. And it wasn't just one person, it was spread across the back line. Whether that's a defensive structure issue, it would sort of point towards that, given the fact that it was spread out so much over the back line. To me, they were starting way too narrow and having to make up so much ground going out wide. By the time the attack is coming forward, the defence is already going and drifting sideways, and they're not taking up any ground defensively. So something to work on there. But for the eye test, just watching them, I think they looked better. The signings certainly looked better. The two front rowers, both Hunt and Wyn Jones, especially in that first half, the scrum was good. They actually won one or two scrum penalties, and they both looked good in the loose as well. Levi Douglas, who came off the bench, was good. Tina Stabia was good. Put a couple of big hits in. One on Mike Lowry really stands out. He buried him in the back line, which you gotta love to see. So there's a lot of positives to come out of this game, but the home game's coming up now. They're going to want to start putting some wins on the board. And my final positive for the Dragons, I'm not a kit man, but that Dragons away kit was mint. Then moving on to Saturday afternoon, it was the Bulls and Ospreys. This was a really fun one. Ended up 53-40. I mean, the defensive coaches will probably be pulling their hair out, but it was a real fun one to watch as a neutral. Real good physical battle between the two teams. Unfortunately, the Bulls just had too much power, the altitude, everything. Caught up with the Ospreys at the end, but it was a really impressive and fun game. And just looking at that in isolation, there is not going to be many teams that go away to the Bulls and get anything out of it. So a try scoring bonus point is an excellent result for the Ospreys, you got to say. A couple of really good positives. The back row went really well. Harry Deeves in particular. The two back rows was a good battle. Good to see Ross Moriarty being aggressive, and Morgan Morse had a couple of good moments as well. And just the general backline play was good, and they were able to break balls down. As I said, Thokada Singer looked good in the centre, which we've barely seen him play for the Ospreys, so that is a positive. Hopefully continue to build now, and good start to the season for the Ospreys. The Scarlets then, this was kind of a disappointment for me. I was really expecting a lot from the Scarlets this season, and they just never got going in this game. They were second best in really every asset of the game. Scrum was constantly under pressure. They were constantly getting broken down in defence, and just good scramble defence or poor Munster execution was keeping them in the game. They did show some good character, fight back at the end. Could have realistically got a losing bonus point with the try, but to be honest, I don't want to sound harsh, but they probably didn't deserve it. They were literally second best throughout, and Dwayne Peel will probably be quite disappointed with what he saw from his players, given all the prep he would have done in pre-season, and they just weren't at the races. A lot of down balls, the passing was all over the place, a lot of one-on-one missed tackles, and it just wasn't a good afternoon for the Scarlets fans, who came out in force, to be fair to them. There was a few positives. Harry Thomas, the under-20s hooker, got a start and looked good throughout, played most of the game, looked pretty good, dealt with the physicality pretty well. We got to see Joe Hawkins have a good run out, and as long as the Scarlets have got Blair Murray, he can always make something happen. He's absolutely electric, and he started this season how he finished last season. But this one was just a disappointing one for the Scarlets, because if they've got any designs in being a playoff team, teams like Munster at home is who they need to be really beating to be able to push up into that echelon of the league. And the final game of the weekend was Cardiff against the Lions. This was kind of a scrappy affair. The conditions weren't great, but Cardiff showed a lot of grit in this one, and that was what was positive to see. I think they were quite unlucky, because they were breaking down the Lions pretty easy when they were getting possession. Tim Basham scored in the corner, unfortunately was wiped off because of a clear out for Ben Thomas, which it was on the neck and head area, and you can't lie with that, but The scrum half, I think it was Jacqueline, comes from the side, offside, and he's basically off his feet. And Ben Thomas has got nothing else to hit, coming at, super pace. And it was a yellow card, which upgraded to a 20-minute red. So quite unlucky for Ben Thomas. And then that kind of dragged Cardiff into the arm wrestle a bit, but they were able to push on then in the second half. Substitutions made a difference, and they fought for a really gritty bonus point win. The discipline will be a little bit of an issue for the coaching team. 14 penalties, and as I say, that 20-minute red card, and that's what really kept the Lions in the game. At half-time, there was a crazy stat. Cardiff had made 472 metres to the Lions 69, and the score was only 14-13 at halftime. So that just shows how much the discipline was letting them down right at key moments. There's a few standout performances that deserve to be talked about. Alan Norris, who's one of my favourite players, man of the match. He was absolutely outstanding, workmanlike performance. Steve Tandy's going to have to start taking notice of him if he carries on the way he's going. Millard playing 13. He's basically the only fit 13 who can play in that position in the game, and I thought he made every decision right. Defensively, he was good. Got over the game line, always breaking tackles, got offloads. I thought he had a really tidy afternoon. Evan Lloyd came on early for an injured Belcher, scored 2 tries, looked really physical. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the Red of Wales again soon. And the one that really intrigued me was Jacob Beetham. He came back on after the 20-minute red card for Ben Thomas and looked really good in a 12 role. Generally played 15, of course, but in that role he looked physical, big carries, he's got that footballing ability, had a couple of good really defensive reads, and I personally would like to see him maybe tried at 13. Don't know if that's something that's in the coach's mind, but I think Wales are thin at 13 and so are Cardiff, and I would like to see them maybe give him a run of games and say, we're going to try you in a couple of games and see how you go in that position. And I honestly think he'll flourish. I think he's got all of the attributes you need. That's all from me, and I will catch you on the next one.